Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, one and all. We're back in the pub, but there's no Patrick Van Straaten today, so Chris Hamill has vacated his seat for the one, the only, the clickbait king, the master of no polls. It's Adam Templeman. Temps?
How we doing? It's good to be back. Good to be back in the pub, yeah.
Are you happy to see Adam vote in the poll just above that he definitely won't put in?
Definitely not good.
Is this your first time presenting on a Sunday Vibes on English shores? Because you were part of the Sochi edition, which was a collector's item, a shiny.
It was. That was a great episode.
First time presenting in the pub?
No, it isn't. Unfortunately, it's not. I've been here before in my Ajax jumper.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's
which
a nice
lot of you
jumper as
gave
well.
some nice comments about, which is very nice.
Remembered solely for the jumper. I might as well just laid it out in the chair.
Front there, yeah.
Just as much input. Let's go for the first question, though.
True.
This one comes from Sam O'Gara 4, and he says, "Who is your dark horse for this year's World Cup?"
Cool. Come to me first.
Coming to you first, Hamster, because Temps hasn't got a clue.
Scooby-Doo. All right. I think we should all just drop the whole Belgium or dark horses
Too good.
Scenario, because they've not been dark horses for a long, long time, have they? They've been underperformers, underwhelming. I'm going to go for some proper outside bets. Teams that spring to mind: Costa Rica, Peru, Mexico.
Okay.
I think, let's start with Costa Rica. Very unfortunate at the 2014 World Cup.
Yeah.
Ultimately crashed out to Holland on penalties. Escaped a group containing Italy, England, Uruguay. So have a history of giant killing, led by the effortlessly graceful Brian Ruiz, former Fulham star, who didn't have the greatest season for Sporting CP. I think it was only 2 goals and 3 assists, but it plays more of a second striker for Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to up his output for his national team. Who else was there? Peru. They'll be delighted that Paulo Guerrero has been welcomed back into the fold. He, of course, was banned after testing positive for cocaine. But ultimately, he's been allowed to play now thanks to letters from the captains of the other respective teams in his group and his compelling argument to the relevant authorities that the cocaine that was found, the traces of it that were found in his system, were due to contaminated tea. Thames has tried to use that.
Heard that one before, Adam.
To get time off work before.
How did it work for him?
But he's crucial. He is their fulcrum. He brings all the experience, their talisman, so on and so forth. 5 goals during qualification. I think Christian Cueva also got 4, and Flores got 4 as well. So there's some handy players in that side. There's some pace, on the flanks. And I like the way that they generally build up play, quick passing, sort of formations. It's done the rounds on Twitter, how they sort of like to play out from the goalkeeper. Looking forward to seeing if they can one, impose that style on a side like France who are in their group, and 2, how they change, how they bend and shape their play when they are clearly not this superior side in the scenario. Mexico, perpetual underachievers, let's say, because they've not got past the round of 16 in the last 4 or 5 tournaments, have they? It's becoming, that stage of the tournament is really starting to hang over them. And I think, there's some exciting young talent coming to the fore in Mexico. Irving Lozano had a great debut season in the Eredivisie, contributed to around 30 goals. I think it was contributing to a goal every 93 minutes for PSV. It didn't finish very strongly, but started, but went off like a rocket in Holland. So I'll be excited to see if that form can translate, from domestic into the international scene. I think he's scored 6 in his last 14 for Mexico as well. So starting to hit a purple patch when it's necessary, because I think Little P only scored 2 during qualification. Rafa Marquez obviously playing his 57th World Cup, father time himself. Don't know how he does it. But they do have an ageing squad. So let's see if they can make, Rafa Marquez can make one last hurrah out of it. Temps, what are you saying?
I'm going to go for a younger squad. I'm going to go for Nigeria.
Ooh.
They've got a great selection of players as well. A lot of players are playing in the Premier League in their squad. So they've got obviously Iwobi, Iheanacho, Obi Mikel, who's an absolute legend for Nigeria now. I've just got a good feeling about them. They're in a very tough group though, which is a problem. They've got Argentina, Croatia and Iceland, so it's quite a well-matched group. But you can't say that Argentina are going to run away with the group though. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Croatia are going to finish top. It's going to be
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
the-
Croatia might finish
yeah.
top. that
Be an
group.
interesting battle for second there, right? I imagine
Oh, yeah.
Argentina will still go through despite their porous defence. But yeah, Croatia and Nigeria, that'll be a hell of a battle.
Oh yeah.
Argentina though could swing both ways. We spoke about it on Continental Club last week, right? That if they find a rhythm, they could be incredible. Or equally, they
yeah.
could be utter dog shit at this tournament and just fall apart, not even get out of the group. This wouldn't surprise me if Argentina didn't get out of that group and
No, I
Nigeria
wouldn't.
and Croatia qualified.
I wouldn't be shocked either.
But-
yeah, and Sampaoli's already kind of said that
Yeah.
I've not had long enough with this group of players, so
Getting his
maybe,
excuses early.
maybe
Yeah.
manage your expectations. But he also said in this tournament there's a revolver to Messi's head to perform. So
Pressure.
all
A lot
good
of pressure.
noises coming out of the
A lot of
Argentina
pressure.
camp.
I'll go for, just to keep this one brief, I'll go for Uruguay. I think Uruguay have an incredible back line and a really good forward line. I think the fact that Diego Godin and Jimenez play with each other every single week at Atletico Madrid and are part of possibly the best defence in the entirety of Europe for a season and every season is a real positive for them. So I think they're going to be okay at the back. And obviously they've got two of the outstanding strikers in the tournament in Europe, in Edinson Cavani and Luis Suarez. Obviously Cavani coming off the back of a season where I think he contributed to 52 goals in all competitions for PSG, which is insane, and he just does every single year because not the best, the most competitive league, but equally he is still banging in goals.
Well, he's top goal scorer
in qualifying as
CONMEBOL
well.
qualification
Yeah,
process with 10, yeah.
What I was just about to touch on, I think it's no mean feat to finish second in the South American qualification process. By far the hardest qualification process, way more difficult than Europe.
Oh yeah.
So for them to finish second above the likes of Argentina and a few other sides, I wouldn't count Uruguay out. And also, let's not forget the 2014 World Cup. They looked extremely dangerous. There was moments in that tournament where I think people thought they might. Did they get to a semi?
No, that
went
was,
out of the quarters,
that was 2010. Yeah,
Yeah, I
2010 when they were spearheaded by Diego Forlan, that's when they finished third.
Yeah, I think
Oh, yeah.
think they might get to a quarters this year. I'm not sure they'll go too much further than that, especially as they've got a really hard draw coming
Yeah.
out of the group. They'll face either Portugal or Spain.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But having said that, I'm not sure Portugal are all about this year.
I'm not the
so-
biggest fan of Uruguay style of football, but they are going to be difficult
Dogmatic,
to break down
yeah,
like
very
Portugal.
dogmatic.
Oscar Tabarez has said in the build-up to this
Yeah.
World Cup that we don't have the tools to play a flamboyant style
Yeah,
of
they'll be
football.
dirt.
We're going
They'll
to
be
have to be
absolute dirt.
quite pragmatic. Yeah, so they're going to be
Sounds
filth.
like
A little bit like Portugal, who actually I think for the first time in a long time have a supporting cast, let's say, up top to help Ronaldo, who scored 15 goals in qualification. You've got Andre Silva, didn't have the greatest season, but scored 9 during qualification. You've got Guedes, who contributed to I think around 14 goals in 27 starts at Valencia. So maybe Portugal have a little bit more going for them than Uruguay in a sense, but two very hard teams to break down, yeah.
Very hard teams to break down. But what do you guys at home think? Who is going to be the dark horse for this year's World Cup? Let us know in the comments below. Last weekend we headed down to Field Day Festival where we met up with AJ Tracy, who actually submitted a question for Sunday Vibes. Let's roll that VT.
Alright, listen, it's AJ Tracy here, fresh from Field Day London. Listen, I got a question for you FD boys. Is Tottenham Hotspur the best club in London? Hear me?
Yeah, he says we went to Field Day. I actually didn't. I was working, because money never sleeps. But Adam, you got a couple of backstage passes courtesy of being press in inverted commas. How did you swing that? Who was your favourite act? And how did McCubbin last the whole night when his eyes were in different time zones at 9 o'clock?
Two of those I don't know the answer to. McCubbin, no idea. I can't give away the secrets on how we get this stuff handed to us. We're just lucky, I guess. And we met. My favourite people we met were actually Corrupt. They had some funny stories with them. They're very, very nice guys. Timothy Lacoste as well, if you know him. Big fans, big legend in the office. Yeah, he was great. If
you don't know, get to know.
Yeah.
What about you, mate? You were, I
I
saw
was a
your
bit-
Instagram
I
stories
was a
at
bit
2
worse
o'clock in
for
the
wear.
morning.
Yeah, I'll go Corrupt FM as well.
Corrupt FM were great.
Corrupt were like the best.
What, the DJ set?
Put the best show on. They put the best show on.
Surprisingly
Surprisingly
as well,
so as well. Cause I think because they were early doors, everybody was a bit like, let's just go and see corrupt because it's corrupt.
Yeah.
But they were actually putting on
They
the
were
best show.
insane.
So they got you in the mood,
madness.
yeah?
Absolute madness. They also submitted a question to Agony Uncles, which is insane. So. Pretty fun.
That's
Plug
crazy.
there, so go and watch Agony
Yes.
Uncles or Balls
That's
Up. But let's get to AJ Tracy's question.
Yeah.
Are Tottenham the best team in London? 100% yes is the answer.
It's hard
There
to
can
say.
be
It's hard to say no.
there's
Right now, yeah.
There's no other team close to them at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal are only a few sort of key personnel away from catching back up. I mean, they still have Lacazette, they still have Aubameyang up front. I think they still had the third best attack last season. Ozil's still producing by far and away the most chances in the league. He's laying on 3.6 key passes for his teammates per 90. So Arsenal just need to sort out. I mean,
The away form.
Patrick Van Straten could give you a much more sort of well-rounded answer than me, but yeah, the goalkeeper, they've been linked with Bernd Leno.
Yeah.
Well, you're an Arsenal fan.
So
What
the
do you think
centre
he
back
needs?
situation,
I mean,
Mustafi and Koscielny.
The problem last year was simply our away form. We were incredible at home. Our away form was so bad. Obviously, we only won one game away from home this year, which was the last game of the season. Every other game was absolutely diabolical.
Absolutely.
And the
Yeah,
defence,
so
we've got
bad.
obviously Mustafi, not a fan of him. Koscielny's on the way out. And Peter Cech should not be our number one goalkeeper. He's too old. He should be secondary. We need a new keeper. 100%.
There's a lot of problems to fix at
Yeah, there
Arsenal.
is,
There's a
yeah.
lot of problems, and I
All
think
defensive.
Unai Emery has to first and foremost decide what formation you want to play. Because back in the last season, and for large parts of it, you're playing a 3-5-2, and Kolasinac was kind of in and out of the side at wing back, and then Bellerin was in and out of the side at wing back. It's like, is he going to operate in a 3? If not, then he has to revert to a 4.
I don't think he'll play in a 3.
I don't think he will either.
Just recalling all of Emery's sides at Valencia, Sevilla, and PSG, I can't ever remember him playing a 3. He normally favours a 4-2-3-1, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he went in for a player like Nzonzi. You kind of need a pivot, let's say, or just a bit more steel in that midfield, and I think he wouldn't be a bad addition. I think his release clause is pretty low as well at this point.
We need some competition as well for Granit Xhaka. He's just been cruising. I feel like every week he's expected to be in the lineup. He doesn't try as hard. We need someone to give him a bit of fear, a bit of punch.
Yeah, I kind of agree. That's why I was a little bit surprised that you only went in at the 11th hour for Fabinho.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I think Liverpool really stole a march on you there, and obviously United have now snapped up Fred as well over the last few days. So I think you're going to have to make some moves in that midfield. So the other London team we're looking at really is Chelsea, isn't it?
Yeah.
As being,
Yeah,
for me, Chelsea are a long way off. They might have finished ahead of Arsenal, but they're in turmoil, Chelsea. They've got Roman Abramovich as a manager who doesn't want to invest in the club. They've pulled out the stadium infrastructure. He's refusing to appoint a new manager until he gets a British visa. It's an absolute mess.
Yeah, and personnel-wise, it looks like they're already gearing up to recruit Seri from Nice, who I'm not quite sure is what they need right now. He's not a central midfielder, as a lot of media outlets have kind of touted. He's an attacking midfielder. I think his defensive contribution is about 1.6 tackles, interceptions per game, which is about half that of Roberto Firmino.
Yeah.
But he does produce 2.1 key passes, which is the same as David Silva.
Yeah.
He sees a lot of the ball. I think he's averaging 86 passes per game in Ligue 1 last season, which is more than Thiago Motta, who's an absolute metronome, 30 more than Rabiot, I think. So if your team want a sort of specialist attacking midfielder who's going to create a lot of chances but not do a lot of defensive work, then Seri is the man. But Chelsea already have Eden Hazard, who's very adept in that sort of attacking midfield number 10 position, and they have Bakayoko, who's more box-to-box, Drinkwater, whose defensive output is better. Let's not even compare him to Kante, there's 0 point, and Fabregas, who is more creative. So I don't know how Chelsea are making signings as well without having appointed a manager, but if Laurent Blanc is going to be the next manager, then that might make sense of this transfer, because he's got a lot of experience in League One, hasn't he?
But I think Blanc's going to have a lot of convincing to do. It's to convince Thibaut Courtois to stay for a season without Champions League football, to convince Eden Hazard to stay for a season without Champions League football, to convince new signings, probably a new striker to join the club. Without Champions, it's not easy to do. These are big money moves. If they are going to go out and get Icardi, as has been much talked about, that is going to cost upwards of 100 million euros. I think he's got 110 million euro release clause, something like that. They're going to try and get him, but to convince him to join Chelsea without Champions League football over other teams that are interested in Icardi is not an easy job.
Also seen that Icardi is now linked with Bayern Munich as well as a Lewandowski replacement.
Yeah,
So
and there's
as
another
soon as they-
interesting puzzling
yeah.
move. The Lewandowski, we've spoken about in the past.
I-
We're not overly
I
keen.
don't think the powers that be would accept a Cardi at their club.
Yeah,
Make sure everything is harmonious, don't they?
Yeah.
On and
Yeah,
off the pitch,
he'll
and I
be,
think he
he'll
would
be a risky one.
definitely be a
Disruptive figure.
disruptive figure, chink in their armour. Let's go back to Tottenham then, because Tottenham this morning were linked with Martial. I think this was in the Daily Express I saw, and they said that Pochettino is being given £100 million to spend
Okay.
to strengthen his team in the
Not
summer.
enough. Not enough.
Because
Definitely not
yes,
enough.
they're ahead of Arsenal right now, but to go back to the question, if Arsenal invested wisely, which they have sort of done so far. Socrates not the most inspiring, but defensive cover, and Adley from PSG. I
Lichtsteiner
heard
as
great
well.
things about him.
Yeah.
Lichtsteiner is smart because they needed cover for
good.
Bellerin and competition for Bellerin.
Very,
as well.
very short term.
Um,
Very short term.
But yeah, if I can't see. I mean, Anthony Martial would be a fantastic signing for Spurs, sort of name-wise, let's say. But then, if he wants to play on that left, where does Son play? If Son's going to play as a second striker, then where does Dele Alli play? And why spend 100 million or close to 100 million on someone like Martial when there's more pressing issues in that side, like replacing Dembele? I think Spurs actually
Dembele's such a hard
Spurs have a
to
lot of
replacement.
work to do to one, improve on what they've done, and two, to even maintain the levels they're performing at. Because
There's also a lot of chat that they're going to bring in De Ligt from Ajax for about 40 million euros as an Alderweireld replacement.
I
Yeah.
don't think there's any way Spurs get the league because Barcelona have been monitoring his progress for
I think they're going to
2
try
seasons
that. If they can, I think it wouldn't be the worst move, because I do think that's another area they need to sign players in. Pochettino has often operated in a system that requires defensive rotation, especially when you're asking Davinson Sanchez and Jan Vertonghen to go through the work they did last year without Toby Alderweireld. Because I think we're all in agreement Toby's going to leave, and it's probably going to go to Manchester United, or maybe to either a Real Madrid or a Barcelona.
It's looking
So
likely,
if
yeah.
he goes, that's another area they've got to find cover for. Have to find a centre back. The big problem, you mentioned it just briefly there, is finding a Moussa Dembele replacement. The hardest player, arguably one of the hardest players in the whole of the Premier League to replace. Moussa
Do you think he'll
Dembele.
definitely
He's
leave?
so key. It's
Nah,
not
but
necessarily he'll
his-
leave, but his
his-
age and his
yeah.
numbers are just starting to
Yeah,
fall off a little bit.
declining.
So who and how do you replace him? I personally think Pochettino can't replace him and is going to try and mix up the system. That's why he's going to move to a player like Martial.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
or he just goes in heavily for someone like Ndombele, or I think who's the kid at Southampton whose numbers were very
Lamina,
similar?
Mario-
Is it
Mario
Mario
Lamina, yeah.
Mario Lamina's dribble numbers were very similar. That's one of Dembele's strengths, right? Kind of shifting the ball, beating his man,
Yeah.
and progressing Spurs up the pitch. He's quite a press-resistant player because he's a very press-resistant player because he's so good at dribbling. So maybe someone like Ndombele.
What about a
or
Milinkovic-Savic?
Lamina.
This is where, if Tottenham really had the big guns out and they're really backing Mauricio Pochettino to take them to the next level, that is the type of player they need to be competing with the Manchester clubs for, Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah.
I think Milinkovic-Savic is an interesting one. He's going to cost anyone who tries to sign him an
120.
absolute arm
Yeah.
and a leg. But I see him as sort of quite a similar player to Pogba at this point, better utilised around the final third. He was chipping in a lot of goals and assists last season for Lazio. He's probably well-rounded enough to be deployed more, to be deployed deeper even, but I think that'd be a waste of his talents. Spurs have that goal-scoring threat from midfield in Christian Eriksen,
Yeah.
in Dele Alli. So I think their money would better spent on a deep-lying playmaker.
It'd be interesting to see who they go for. So we're all in agreement Tottenham are the best team, though, in London
Yeah,
right now.
It's not really an
Yeah,
argument,
which
is
is-
it now?
Wow.
Depressing.
So there you go, AJ. There's your answer. Tottenham just are. But what do the people at home think? Do you
Tottenham.
agree? Let us know in the poll if Temps has put one in there. Are you
I
going to
should-
put one in there, Adam?
I was in it. There's no excuse this week. Yeah, we'll be in there. Fortunately.
Okay, our final question of the day was submitted by Samarth Tandon, and he says, make a five-a-side dream team out of the best players you've seen play at the World Cup.
At the World Cup. So how many
Alright.
World Cups have we all seen?
So we're not talking about domestic form here.
Yeah.
It's how good they were at World Cups.
And what we've seen.
What we've
so we've
seen.
lived.
So we're not going to 1982.
Yeah.
We're not
No.
going to
Unless
Mexico
you're Bab.
1970.
Well, the
unless you're
fir-
John Babb. Yeah.
The first one I remember is 2002. That's the first one I remember clearly.
Yeah.
I remember 98, but not the players, you know. 2002 is the first one I remember. So I've gone for Buffon in goal.
Okay.
My only defender is Roberto Carlos.
Oh, it's an attacking team.
Yeah, it's a very attacking team. And then I've gone for more defensives. I've gone Pirlo. That's a man just to sit there and just ping in balls. And then I've gone for Miroslav Klose because he was always one of my favourite German players to watch. He's always scoring, such a goal poacher. And then I've gone R9 as well because you can't
very
deny
attacking.
R9.
That's very top heavy. But if you're playing five-a-side, it'd be a nightmare. Every time Roberto Carlos wound one up, you're getting hit.
Oh yeah.
But Sonderco is going to be imprinted on your
Horrible.
thigh.
You know when you're on that
for
cold
6
night as
weeks
well,
to
and it's a
come.
stinger
and
in
I
the
thought
rain.
it through. Roberto Carlos will just bang a shot.
I feel like your team's kind of vulnerable though. It's
Yeah, but
very top heavy.
This is how I thought. Roberto Carlos was just pinging shots, and then the keeper, if he parries them away, Klose said just knock them in. It'll always be hovering around the edge, you know, just waiting.
I've gone for the slightly more midfield to mine.
on.
So I've gone for Casillas in goal.
Okay.
Cannavaro at
That's a
central,
great choice.
at central defence. He's just mopping up everything.
that's
the
a
ball
great
god.
choice.
I've gone
Full
for
stop.
I've gone for 2 in midfield. I've gone for Iniesta and Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Ooh, why Schweinsteiger?
Dovetail nicely.
Schweinsteiger, I think, was at his best at big games
Yeah.
for Germany. He was incredible in their World Cup run when they won it. Something about him, his presence he brings to the team as well, leadership qualities I want in there. I want him and Iniesta just popping passes in between each other. Bastian, just them big thighs charged up and down the pitch. And then, I've also gone for R9 up front. By far the best striker at a
it's
World
hard
Cup, isn't
not
it?
to.
I'll try and avoid going for the players you've gone for then, and I'm pretty much making this up on the spot. I'd go for Oliver Kahn in goal
Ooh,
Good
it's
choice.
great shout.
Absolutely.
because
The
I
mentalist.
think despite how good that forward trident were for Brazil in 2002, that he won best player of that tournament. He dragged Germany to the final. That was not a great Germany side by any means in 2002. But yeah, he got them there. So Oliver Kahn, he also just looked like a mad feral
You wouldn't want to
bastard.
fight. Imagine him in
insane.
5-a-side. You know, he's just people are just screaming. You're like,
You know
oh
what?
god.
If he asks for subs as well, if someone forgets their subs, he's gonna give them the hairdryer.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
You remember your £3
absolutely.
when Oliver Kahn's your captain. That is for sure. And then you got Philip Lahm just to offset that.
That's
I want
good,
him to
yeah.
be the diplomat, him to be like,
I like
listen, you lads, you're starting on the bench, but we're all blowing a bit these days. Everyone will get 5 or 10.
Very German so far.
He can be the one to deliver that news. I'm thinking about this, multiple levels. Lucio,
He says
savage. He will put you through the gate like silly string.
You know
like
when you're on the
putty,
fence,
mate.
he just squeeze
You
you
are-
through like an apple for a tennis racket.
Yeah, you're gone. Don't know why. Weird analogy. When have you ever done that?
I haven't.
I had a great
People
image
have
of it in my head.
So there's 3, and I need to go.
It's very defensive. Bro.
Yeah, I need to go for a couple of sensational attackers, don't I? Zidane, 98 World Cup, owned it.
Yeah.
He can be
a good
my
shout.
midfield presence, and I mean I'm not going to go R9 because you boys went R9, but yeah, R9 at that 2002
Yeah.
tournament, formidable.
Yeah, it is.
A striker in a lap. I might go Thomas Muller.
It's very German, his team. I like the efficiency.
The young
I think
Muller.
it's interesting. None of us have picked Messi or Ronaldo.
Messi doesn't deserve
just not
to
there,
be.
are they?
I think that when you're asked these sort of questions as well, you kind of in your head you coach not to say Messi and Ronaldo because
Yeah.
it's just boring. Okay, let me think of a non-German in to go up front because 3 Germans is perhaps a little bit unacceptable.
Chaotic.
Um,
What about an Englishman? No chance. Frenchman? Oh, we got Zidane in your side.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
What
of
about Spanish?
who has been exceptional. I mean, didn't Messi win the top goal scorer of the last World Cup with 5, or shared it with James
We've got to put
Rodriguez,
Messi in
or-
there. Put Messi in your team. Somebody's got to have Messi in their 5-a-side team.
All right, Messi. Just to wrap this up, let's go on.
Yeah, let's go home because.
And by home, we mean the office, which is where we spent.
But we're about to put another poll in because
All of our time.
who do you think's 5-a-side team would win in a 3-stage
I don't think
5-a-side
it's going to be me.
classic tournament? Let us know in the poll up there.
There you go.
Smashed it.
Lovely.
So that's the end of Sunday Vibes this week, but don't go anywhere just yet. There is more happening on the Football Daily Network. Temps, what else is happening?
On Balls Up, there's a very special Football Daily and Balls Up collaboration. It's a World Cup mega quiz. You know nothing. It's sitting on our channel, isn't it?
It is,
It's going
mate.
to be on Saturday on our channel, yeah. So that would be
not on balls.
that'll be right here. But go to Balls Up and check out Agony Uncles afterwards. Obviously.
What else is happening?
Eating some ice. Stat Wars: The Champions is out.
Who is it?
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Who is it?
This Saturday is. Oh, get there, Chris. It
Is
is
it
me
Dave?
versus Makola.
Oh, is it you, Makola?
So a grudge match because we played each other in the last Stat Wars: The Champions, and I smashed him Guapa. Good knowledge though. There's a lot of betting.